Welcome members to another weekly update. Please check the other video as well where I talk about the overall market. It's 9th of February is when the market closed on Friday. Opening chart is the SPX A50R, which is the percentage of stocks above their 50-day moving average, otherwise known as the elastic band system, which is on your membership key. And interesting enough, I was just talking about this today, and a member just emailed me saying, "Is this a signal for the elastic band system?" So remember, I can't tell you anything one-on-one. Anything I tell you is just like an overview broadcast when you look over my shoulder like this. So I'm not addressing anyone one-on-one. I'm just talking aloud here as I look at the things and my system. And the elastic band system is where basically it's looking for extremes to the downside, particularly where things have got oversold and you're waiting for them to pop back up again. And it can be quite a lucrative trade if you time it right. So what it's saying is that it's an elastic band because things only go so far down before they pop up again. It doesn't work so well shorting on the upside and when things get to the upside extreme, because they can stay up there for a long time. But when you get these extreme lows like this, then things get oversold and then they spring back, particularly in what is quite a violent bull market like this. This is very low. To get that low in a bull market is a real oversold condition, I would say. But that's not to say the coast is clear, because this is why the system says, okay, it's been triggered in a bull market, which is like this one. It's triggered when it goes below 30%. That's happened. But now that's arming the system. What actually triggers the trade is when it goes back above 30, and what that's to do is like a safeguard to make sure this thing isn't just continuing going straight to hell. So that hasn't happened yet. So it's down to 18. What we're waiting for now is on the weekly chart for this to go back above 30. Once that happens, that's a trigger to say that this is like the internal DNA of the market. You may not see this, outside, than the regular market, but this is telling you something is happening. Well, it's not there yet. Now, one thing you can do, it is possible to jump the gun if you're using something like options, where the downside is defined. You can only lose what you've put into the option, but the upside's unlimited, and those options can really be set on fire if you do that right. But the danger currently is that these things have not stabilized very well, and we still don't know if this thing is going to turn into, it still has a potential to turn in 1987. The reason I did that special broadcast on Friday was because it's not an orderly correction. There's this wild intraday, that's just not very healthy. It needs to stabilize where it's at. So I'm waiting for the 30% line on the A50R to trigger the elastic band system, I'm waiting for the whole market to stabilize. Let's check in on see how some of our individual trades fared during what was a very violent week, which is why we set stops. Now be careful, if this thing closes below the 200-day on any given day this week, it's looking like it's going to, don't wait for 4 o'clock. I'm there at like 3:55, because overnight bad things can happen if that's looking like it's going to close below. IMMU, and this is the beauty of like trading strong stocks. I mean, this one, we set the line here. It was borderline being triggered. If you did, then fine. If you're still in, then fine. But I think what I was saying here was just if it goes below the 50, but it's fine. A profit's a profit. Remember, I was in down here. It's a huge gain if you did get out, and if you're still in, fine. If things stabilize this week, that's not a bad position at all still, to get back in if one wanted to. And this is the great thing about trading. Hopefully you think of stronger stocks, because there should be a more resilient position, as opposed to weak ones. So it looks like this was stopped out then for a profit. I was in around there. I said if it crashed below this previous resistance, this support, and it did. So a small profit on that one out of that. Actually, let's just look at the weekly chart on that again, that EPOL, to make sure it doesn't come back into a buying range afresh. Yeah, not bad. Profit is a profit though. It's gone a long way already. It got pretty extreme as it was, so fine. ANSS, this one's fine. You know, I was in, as you know, I was in, hang on, what's this turn? Sorry, weekly chart, daily chart. Yeah, so as you know, I was in around there, around 120, gets back up there. And so I was looking at the weekly chart there, and think of the line in the standard drew was there, so it's got stopped out for a very nice gain there of 120 to 150. It's 30. It's nice, 25% just gain from the stock alone. You know, and if you're still in, then you know, again, fine. You know, if things stabilize this week and it hangs out there, okay, whatever. But you know, this is to protect further downside. Protect against further downside. Be caution though. This is not necessarily over this week. Pico stopped out, ducked below the 40 week. I was in round there, so there is a small profit on that one. And TILE. Okay, so I was in here at around 18, and I said the line in the sand was there about 24, gets to about 23, so it's a nice profit there. So you can see, you know, your stocks will start closing out ahead of any trouble if it sees it. This is the important thing about using stop losses. Let's just check in on the pound. Still in its uptrend. It took a beating this week, as I was explaining about the risk on, the risk off trade last week. But the pound didn't too badly in spite of that. So I'm still in there. I was in, as you know, down here. That one still rolls up. If it's still in the uptrend, then I'm happy. I'm just looking at the futures as well tomorrow as I'm doing this on a separate screen, and looking like the futures are up tomorrow at 1%. So that should at least represent some kind of stabilization there. If not the bounce, it will trigger the A50R system. Let's look at a couple of new ones on that with that in mind. RDNT. Now I've got room concert because these ones were stopped out. RDNT. Classic picture, sideways motion into a violent uptrend, 40 week. Let's just check in on that. And the daily. And there's that nice line, what a disciplined line of support there around 960, 70, 80. That's the entry point right there where it is right now. Hopefully the sweet spot. You can have a tight stop on that one. I mean 10% takes that to 85% on that. It's going to be it depends. I mean, this is a break in support. This one I'd want to just sort of try and get, I'd be out if it was below the 40 week though, because it's so disciplined. That will be the stop for me on that. Nice position that's in. I'll add that to the list. And another one here is PNTR. Okay, there's another one there. It's pretty steep, and it's danger with something like that. I hope it's not going to be too toppy. Let's look at the weekly daily chart. Okay, and yeah, it actually looks a lot better on the daily chart, which is really the chart we're going on. I want a tight stop in this one to make sure that isn't just topping out action. That would be it. That would be my line of sand. Not waiting for the 40 week. Sorry about the noise. I'm doing this from home and after a very sugar-filled day with birthday parties. So needless to say, it's chaos. The bedlam will subside later. So there's the line of sand, and if it stops really around 15.5, I'm out of that one. But I'll add it. And one more I want to look at is ZAG. This one does look a bit toppy. Let's look at the daily chart. I like it more sideways than this mounting out and coming back down again. Let's see if the daily isn't as scary as that. Not my favourite. I will pass on that one. I've got two new ones there, RDNT and PNTR. Alright, very good. Keep a close eye on things this week, and I will speak to you in the crypto video.